I just want to talk about sustainability and passive incomes. One of the things I want to say on this subject is what I do is I sort of develop things in batches. For example, I've got this contract I'm on coming to an end now. I'm going to be out of it in about 10 days and heading back to Spain. But the bits you don't really see is things like now where April's teaching English, for example. I've also qualified for teaching English, and it's something I can do. And in all honesty, I'm looking at starting another channel, YouTube channel, where I do one video a day teaching English. It's just very simple, basic, and then back it up with another website where it goes into more detail. These things don't happen overnight. You're not suddenly going to find that you're making $1,000 a month or whatever from doing them. What happens is you end up with referrals. There's a guy I know that does it for English as well. He does group classes. He's getting $50 an hour. One of the reasons it works is he's selling his content as well. So he takes his class programs and he sells that. So they buy the recordings, they buy his ebooks, etc., and then they're buying tuition in like groups of 5 to 8 people that are all paying, and it works out about $50 an hour plus the money from the stuff he sells them. Is it money for value? Yeah, of course it is. I mean, the people that are learning English off it actually get it. I mean, at the end of the day, they're not paying $50 an hour. That's split between all the students. So they get other partners they can learn English with. They get the tuition. They got a program put together, and that's where the money is. That's a prime example. But did it start overnight? Well, the first thing he did for the first year was one video every single day, doing English teaching. And over a period of time, that evolves. Then when you get to year 2, you find you don't really need to do as many videos, because the reason being is you've already got so many videos out there and you've covered so many topics. People start looking for your tuition, but you're picking up money on the AdSense, you're picking up your selling of the training courses, you're selling ebooks, you're selling whatever it is, right? So these things are the sort of things that I do and don't really promote or talk about it on the channel, because unless you're actually into these sort of niches, it would direct the whole channel to revenue streams, which is not where we are. But I'm just saying that's an example. I mean, April teaches English now, so there's another income that I haven't brought up before. You've also got the other side of this, that affiliate marketing-wise, they've started doing some stuff 2 weeks ago. That has brought in 30, was it 30? Yeah, $30 in the last 2 weeks. Doesn't sound a lot, but when I say that I've increased my AdSense revenue by another $60 to $100 a month, you start to see things start to develop in segments. Because this Philippines genre is not where the money is. I'll tell you that now. You won't make a lot of money on just this genre. You need to be doing other stuff. The how-to stuff makes more money. Other channels like talking about insurance and things make money. Healthcare, they're all big hitters when it comes to advertising revenue. The boring subjects, guaranteed. Trying to make them interested in making content with them is hard bit, but is there money in it? Yeah, there is. So you got to understand that it's not just start something as if you turn up to a 9-to-5 job and it's just going to pay out. It isn't. You've got to develop this over time, which could be a year. You know, you can throw a year of your life out the window while you develop these things. I've got another friend who just writes blog posts. Well, in fact, I've probably got about 10 people I know that just do blog posts. They do them up to 12 hours a day. They're not making big money, but they're making okay money. So they're sustainable with it. But I don't want to be into that. What I want is to get up in the morning, do a load of videos, do a couple of blog posts, and pretty much finish for the day. I want to get down to like the 4-hour work week, which is another story. that's what I'm aiming for. And moving away from, like now, where I'm back in the UK working, long term, that is going to stop. I won't need to do it. The other thing you've got is the power of networking and contracting. See, what I do is quite specialist. You've probably seen the Grenfell Tower fire thing. I deal with compliance. So things like that, I would have identified the risks with it. And then, I tell you now, there will be registers and logbooks and information that have identified these problems, not only in that building, but all the ones they're looking at, from people like myself that have actually told them there is problems with their buildings and they've just ignored them. You'll get, we've got no money, we'll look at it in next year's budget, and the usual fob off. See, the thing is, for me, what I do is I keep a log of the conversations, emails, etc., where I turn around and said, I am telling you that this is non-compliant for legislation, law, or whatever, or it's a recommendation, and there you go. And they reply back and say, okay, thanks for that. It's not my job to do it for them. And this is where there's sort of a failing in the UK, because before you used to have a fire officer come around and inspect it. I'm not saying the fire officers are great, because they ain't. A lot of the time they're bloody idiots. They don't know, they're not that familiar with some of the stuff in buildings, but you need their certificate. So they'd have to come and do an inspection, and they would go, that fire door doesn't close, so I'm not giving you a certificate till it's fixed, that sort of stuff. Well, now they're saying, well, you're responsible for yourself. And this is why things like the Grenfell Tower thing happened. But also a lot of this stuff that is being highlighted now has been ongoing probably since the 50s. That's reality. I'm leaving it at that. But the point being is, the contract work, I can pick that up as and when. And a lot of you guys have got skills that you have people that you know, that you network with, that can feed you work when they're busy. For example, when I go back to Spain at the end of this month, I'm meeting up with one of the guys I used to work with on another company. Now, we work in different sectors within the same, well, different, what do they call it, divisions within the same sector. So we're both facilities management and building management, but he mainly deals with operational, which is like day-to-day running, where I'm more on compliance, engineering, schedules, all the cogs and wheels, shall we say, that make the contracts run. Where his role's more operational, of what my stuff goes in place, then they sort of follow on from it. So we've got a crossover, because if I get work and they need somebody operationally, I give it to him. He has some work that needs asset surveying, PPM planning, or whatever, he gives it to me. And that's a prime example of creating this crossover. Now, does it work? Well, let's put it this way. John Parrish, for example, was working with us on the NHS contracts last year. So, yes, it does. In the same way, if John gets a contract, I'm sure he'll send it to me as well. I mean, while I'm in the UK, he emails me quite regular with job updates. And that's a prime example of helping each other out. And I do think that the expat community could benefit from more people doing exactly that, helping each other instead of trying to shaft each other, which is what normally happens. The same with looking at different types of ventures and different skill sets. See, like myself, I have no problem with sitting here in front of a camera and talking, but a lot of people can't do it, or don't want to do it. But they have different skill sets. It could be SEO, could be web design, could be blog posting. And combined, you may find that you're better off working together rather than as individuals. And that's the reality, you see. A lot of this stuff is on your doorstep. You've got people you know that can do a lot of this stuff. You need to work together. Now, this gets onto the sustainability side. See, the thing with me, the bit doesn't really cross over very well at the minute, is for the last few years, I've been in a transition process of getting my family set up in Spain. So I've had the immigration issues. I've had to deal with deaths in the family. I've had to deal with trying to learn a new language, developing business in a new country, trying to get things stable, so that going forward we can develop things. Now, we're now at that position where instead of setting things up, we're now getting into the final transition, which is starting to make the money locally, which is taking time. And that's one of the things, you know, I get these people going, oh, you should just do the call center, blah, blah, blah. If you understood how the call centers work and you understood how you're relying on good contracts, then you would understand why you can't just do that. Also, you physically got to be there. It's one of those businesses you physically got to be in the country. Remotely, people will just run amok because you're not there controlling them. Yeah, I've had enough problems with people being in the next compound, never mind me being happy around the world. So, yeah, it's not that straightforward. But the thing is, now we're in a position where we're moving from where we are in the matter to a bigger house, moving up to a 4-bedroom house. It's going to have an office space, so it means like churning these videos out is much easier. And this channel will continue to grow, but I may be starting some offshoot channels relating to affiliate marketing, basically developing the laptop lifestyle, because it is possible. And one of the key elements here is I develop these over time. 90% of the things I've started still make a revenue. Now, I'm trying to get the revenue on YouTube to basically quadruple over the next 4 months. It's going to happen. I say it is going to happen because I'm going to focus on making that happen. We also have other stuff we're developing in Spain, which will also support this. And that's the key bit, is getting sustainable. Because once you're sustainable, you can start developing new projects. Because if all your bills are paid, instead of you going to work every day and coming home and paying your bills, you're in a position where you're starting to see that you don't need to do a 9 to 5. You start to see that if you invest a bit in YouTube, invest a bit in affiliate marketing, invest a bit in some websites and bits and pieces, you start to see you can go part-time. And then you start to see you don't need to go to the office at all, or work in a factory, or whatever it is you do. And that's one of the important aspects of this, is the fact is you sort of release yourself from working at the same place for the rest of your life. Is there a pension fund in this? You could have a pension fund. It's up to you. I mean, it's like I invest in peer-to-peer lending. Right now, the whole crypto system's in the toilets up until next month. So, investing in crypto investments, it's the right time right now. But it's still going to go down. The market's still going down. So, but long term, it will recover. So, there you go. I mean, the big problem with crypto is getting money back out sometimes. So, there's all sorts of stuff going on, and half of the battle is getting everybody on the same page. I'd like to thank the guy that sent over the email relating to day trading. Day trading is one of those things, if you're doing it, you have to sit and focus. I know a friend of mine has been working on it the last couple of years. He's basically been practicing with demos and stuff. So I know he's getting ready to do that full time. He's been studying it a lot. It's become a full-time venture, but it's been learning, understanding, etc., so that he reduces risks. And this is the other key element, is learning new skills. So yeah, I mean, Wayne's invested a lot of time in the day trading. So you've got to understand that if you get into trying to get sustainable lifestyle, you're going to have to invest time. You're going to have to invest some money. You're going to have to sit and have a good solid think of what you can do and where you can do it. but the rewards are basically unbinding yourself from day-to-day stuff that everyone else gets dragged into. I mean, it's like having a car. I mean, I like having a car, but at the end of the day, if you think why you mainly have it, it's probably going to be for going to work and back. So you're taxed on your income. You're taxed on, let's just say the UK. You're taxed on your income. You're taxed on your car. You're taxed on your insurance. You're taxed on your fuel. Basically, you're taxed on at least at least 5 times just on a car, which you're using as a mechanism to go to work. So, you know, that's the sort of thing I'm talking about. You know, you start to disconnect yourself and you start to see that also you don't need to be living on the same amount of money. It's raining out at the minute. Just smudge that. See, the other side of this being, the new house we're moving to has a shared swimming pool and tennis court. Where am I going to get that in the UK? So it's all about you at the end of the day. You've got to invest your time. You've got to decide what you want to do. You've got to focus on developing it. But I also say that working as a group, and I've mentioned this before about people getting together and actually working out some ideas. But also, if some people want to share their knowledge and experience, etc., I highly recommend getting in on it, because you may find some resources within the people discussing it that you were unaware they were even there. I mean, within the pool of friends I have, I've got everything from web developers to, well, all sorts, literally all sorts, because I'll invest time with people that have got time and skills that are worth investing in. I quite happily help anybody, but at the same time, you've got to have the same commitment level as myself and other people, which is, instead of going, well, how do I do this? Can you tell me how to do it? It's like, no, you tell me what you want to do and give me a roadmap, what you're expecting. I mean, I had a business venture this week where I wasted a couple of calls, probably about 3 or 4 hours, even wrote a white paper for it. And then the guy pulled out last minute. And it was just like, I'm not really fast, but at the same time, if he come back to me and say, Matt, can you do it? I'm not interested. You've wasted my time already. And that's the thing. If you're going to do it, you've got to have a bit of etiquette. You've got to have a bit of business clout. You've got to sit there, and if you're not happy with something that somebody says to you, at least acknowledge it and try and understand their viewpoint, so that you can move everything forward. Because if you can't do the basics, you're probably setting yourself up for a major fall. I mean, myself, I deal with the stuff I'm dealing with, assets at the moment. I do struggle with some people that have no idea about compliance. When they're sitting there telling you they can't afford this or don't want to do that and things like that, and you're like, it's not your choice. It's not for me to tell you, but I'm telling you it's not your choice. This is the law. You know, that's the thing. I'm saying, I'm not arguing with you about it. You know, if you don't do it, that's fine, but I'm just telling you it's the law. If you want to go and talk to the health and safety officer, the British standards, please feel free, because that's not up to me. I'm just advising you about the law. That's it. Anyway, going to cut this one off, but if you are interested in sort of pooling ideas and stuff together, please get in touch. And as Wes said on the last one around Fitbit, about sticking the Amazon links in the bottom, that's the prime example of somebody being helpful, because a lot of time I do these videos on the move and I'm on to somebody else. It's like now, as soon as I finish this, I'm back to doing spreadsheets for this weekend, because I'm working the next 2 weekends so that I finish the contract so I can go home. But in all honesty, there is money out there. There's a lot of free money, and I mean, I've had people say to me, "You don't know what you're talking about." Well, I've been overseas for a decade. Even now, I mean, JL Real Deal's wandering around in my compound, basically, in the Philippines. He's living in one of the units. So, you know, when you get trolls say it doesn't exist and everything, you know, this is what I said to a troll a while back. I says, the thing is, when I prove it, what's the point? you're not going to sit and retract it and apologise. You're just going to go quiet, and that's exactly it, because these guys are idiots. And that's the thing. What's there is there. It's physically there. It's paid for. Didn't even get a mortgage. Paid for the whole building in cash. And that's reality. What we're doing in Spain now, we're renting a bigger place at the minute, because I think doing more YouTube stuff and have more space will be more productive. But also where it is with a swimming pool and stuff, it means I can exercise daily. The kids can get some bikes so we can cycle around, because it's got its own little compound area for riding around. Long term we are going to buy, but right now we've got to focus on getting April's mother over for for her holiday. So, because April's she wants to go back to the Philippines, but at the same time understands completely the fact that we're sort of in Spain now until her mother comes over. And the thing is, we're in the process of moving from residence, so I can get April and the kids as citizens. And once that's done, that's me. I can sit back and relax. I've done my bit. I've created a life in Spain. I've created a life in the Philippines. My wife and kids are secure in a better country financially and education-wise, stability, etc. Because they're within Europe. I mean, that's one of the big things about the Spain that's important for us, is we've got the whole of Europe. Germany is one place I would love to go in the future, but we'll wait and see. And I'm a bit biased on that, because I spent 6 years there as a child. I loved Germany as a kid. But anyway, that's enough nattering on. Take it easy. Enjoy your weekend. Thanks for watching.